Beth and CRISTIN trying to write a book. Wordsmith at work.
Hey, Beth. If you're very observant, you might have noticed that my background is slightly different. I'm saying hola to you from the Dominican Republic. And although I want to just sit on the beach and not think about work, you have made that impossible. So here we are. Okay, fears. So what I'm hearing from you is that your fears are trying to pants a heist novel featuring time travel. And I say to you, yeah, duh, you should be afraid of that. That is a scary thing. There's a reason that we developed fear as a, evolutionary response. There's a reason that we instinctively fear things like sharks and snakes and large falling objects. And it's because we know these things can kill us. And I think that trying to pants a heist time travel novel might very well kill us. So I'm with you on that fear. And I think that we should absolutely not start writing until we have figured out what all the big twists and things are, because otherwise that just sounds like a recipe for disaster to me. I know that, historically you were more of a pantser and I am very much a planner. So, we always knew that this was going to be a little bit of an issue with us working together. But yeah, I definitely think we need to nail down, like, you always seem to be happy to kind of move forward as long as you know a couple big milestones, like the midpoint, the climax, how it ends. I usually want to know basically every step of the journey. I think we can, I can loosen up a little bit, but I definitely think we need at least to know the major milestones. So you sent me a 4-act structure that you filled out. While I really appreciate your 4-act structure, and I think it's a really particularly good way to think of like the big milestones in a story, I personally like to break things down more completely. So I think what I'm going to do is, before I look at your 4-act structure, because we really had only figured out a few kind of major elements, there was a lot that we still haven't figured out. So I think before I look at your 4-act structure, so that my mind is not tainted by any of your ideas, not that, that sounded unnecessarily nasty. That's not what I meant. But just so you know, so that, while I have no ideas in my mind but my own, I think I will fill out a structure form as well. I probably will choose something that has, you basically have 8 beats in your 4-act structure. I probably will choose something that has more beats, just because that's generally more effective for my brain, is thinking through sort of each step. So I think I'm going to fill out a Save the Cat beat sheet, just with whatever ideas I currently have, and then trying to fill in the blanks. And I will send it to you, and then I think we can compare and just see what, if anything, we have in common. And if you like something from my sheet, I like something from your sheet, then we've got like a lot of ideas to kind of pull from and work with. So I feel like that's kind of our next step. And hopefully that will lead us to, a complete enough outline that it feels like we can start to work without just flying by the seat of our pants. Like, we've got a bit of a roadmap to follow. And I think that will make both of us feel a lot more comfortable about at least the plot element of writing a book together. That is not my largest fears. My largest fears are larger and more existential, I think. Honestly, my biggest fear at this moment is that I will fail at this, that I just will not be able to do it, and it will just peter out and be this lame project that I just couldn't commit to, and that I will leave you hanging. We actually, we did try to write a book together a few years ago, when I was still not quite in my right mind. And what happened was, I wrote a chapter, you wrote a chapter. It was time for me to write my chapter. And I just couldn't do it. And so you were like, okay, I'll write my next chapter. And maybe that will, spur you on. And I think you ended up writing 3 or 4 chapters past me. And I just never was able to sit down and write that second chapter. And I felt so shitty about it because not only was I failing at something that I wanted to do just because I couldn't make myself sit down and do it, just like a total failure of, motivation or discipline. But I also, left you hanging, and I felt really bad about that. And I just don't want that to happen again. And I'm scared that it will, because I just have not, every time I've tried to write in the last few years, it just doesn't go super well. I think I've been spending so much time and energy just trying to keep my mind in a good place and avoid certain thoughts and certain patterns of thinking that are destructive for me. And it's really hard when you're struggling with your own thoughts and emotions to just sit somewhere quietly for hours and just give your mind free rein, and let it run, which is what you have to do, right? You have to just sit there quietly and let the words come. But when there's all these other things in your head that are really unpleasant, that you've been trying to avoid, or that you already are thinking about way more than you want to, finding that quiet inside your own brain can be really hard. I would just sit down and start having really upsetting thoughts. And I don't want to do that. I'm a little scared. It'll still be like that, honestly. It's been a while since I've tried writing anything. So, and I am in a better place now. So hopefully it goes better. But yeah, I'm mostly scared that we'll do this for 2 weeks and I won't be able to hack it anymore. And I will let you down and also let down anyone who's watching, because it will just be this failed experiment. Like, oh, just turns out Kristen couldn't do it. So it's over. Lame. I'm afraid of creating that lameness. Yeah, and just adding another failure to like what feels like a string of failures for me in the last few years. But we will see. I'm excited about what we have for our idea so far. And if anyone is going to make this process more fun and easy for me, I know it's going to be you. What I have been thinking about is that I think, although the easiest and most kind of intuitive way to co-write a book is for you to take one POV and me to take the other, and us to swap off chapters, the blank page is scarier for me now than it ever used to be. And it's always been scary. So I wonder if we could negotiate or experiment with actually writing at the same time. So maybe you start a chapter, write as much as you can or whatever. I come in and edit that bit of yours. So that kind of lets me kind of dip my toe into the writing, because editing is more comfortable place for me than drafting anyway. So coming in and editing your writing, I feel would be kind of potentially less it just feels less just a smaller step, right? Easier way to start. So I come in, edit your writing, then I add a little bit of my own, and then maybe at the end of my session, I also kind of sketch out a little outline of what I think should happen next. And then the next day you can look at my little sketch, and then you have something to start with. You're not faced with a blank page either. So you can, either flesh out my sketch or change it a little bit and flesh it out. Or I guess you could start with editing my stuff, then fleshing out my outline, then, writing your own outline, and then I come in, flesh out your outline, just so that we're always kind of, we're always starting with an easier entry point than a blank page. We're always starting with something that the person before left for us. I think that might be interesting. I worry a little bit about, you know, uh, I don't want to trample your creative toes and I don't want you to trample my creative toes, but I think we're both pretty low on ego. And I think we're both pretty good collaborators. So I think that we can make it work. So that's what I propose we try, is not separating the chapters by POV and writing our own, but kind of like genuinely co-writing it. I think we should try that. And if it goes horribly awry, then maybe we'll pivot and try something else. But so that's what I'm going to be working on. Not at this exact moment because I'm on the beach and it's amazing. But when the sun goes down, I'm going to break out a Save the Cat beat sheet, I think. Figure out some plot points, send them to you, and then hopefully we'll have an outline that's on its way to being, solidified when we compare your ideas and my ideas and smush them all together. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay. I'll talk to you soon and enjoy this lovely beach B-roll.